Okay, so, all right, we're in our Friday exercise class, and there's Gordy and Frank and Dan and Jonathan. And we're going to talk with Frank a bit, and then let everybody else have a little something to say. All right?
Okay.
Frank?
I'm the newest person in the group. I've only known I've had Parkinson's for a few months, and it's been a very tough couple of months for me. Since the neurologist told me this, and I had two relatives, my uncle and my grandfather, who both had Parkinson's and have passed away. I have found with the group and other people that have Parkinson's, specifically this group, a huge amount of understanding of where my thinking is, and a great deal of help as far as watching people who are dealing with Parkinson's effectively and getting on with their lives. Because the first year you have Parkinson's has got to be the worst. That's what everybody says, and I certainly agree with 1 year perspective. It's a very, very tough time. But when I met Gordy and Dan and Jonathan, my life really changed. I found friendship and I found understanding, which honestly you don't get from a physician or neurologist who's going to be treating all kinds of neurological illnesses.
I found that I was also very discouraged when I got my diagnosis, but I quickly decided that I wasn't going to let that change the rest of my life, and I just sort of continued doing things the way I always did as much as possible, and I found that I could be a caregiver, which became more of a focus. And Frank, you sort of fit right.
But it was only diagnosed 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And what I found from this group is the doctors, while they may know the medications pretty well, they don't know anything about living with Parkinson's. They don't really appreciate the value of exercise and socializing. Or they'll mention, well, we'll give you some physical therapy. Well, big deal. We need the kind of work that we're doing here every day or every week. And as I've been with this group and doing exercises here and at the Y, I believe my Parkinson's has stabilized. And that's a relief. It won't go away, but it's at a level where I can really live with it.
That's good.
When I first got my diagnosis, I felt it was a death knell, and I reacted typically like Frank, like Dan, probably like Jonathan. I was extremely discouraged. And I am the elder statesman of the group right now. I've been diagnosed for 16 years. Mm. And I had symptoms 5 years before that. And I feel that my Parkinson's has not progressed to the point where it affects my life. I get the most out of life. I do a tremendous amount of volunteering. And I try my best to support those who have Parkinson's.
And you do a really good job of that, Gordy. All of you do. Frank, do you have anything to add?
Well, the first person with Parkinson's I met was Jonathan. Mm-hmm. And Jonathan was a very good sport because all I wanted to talk about was end-of-life planning, financially, my concerns for my family, how I could terminate my life at the end of my life without suffering. And I'm sure that I was a real burden to Jonathan. And in fact, I still worry a little bit when I get into discussions with these guys of dragging them down because I'm in such a bad place. But I'm getting better, and a lot of it has to do with these guys around me.
That's great. All right, thank you very much. Okay, Dan.
When I was first diagnosed, I went to a neurologist, and I was really upset about my diagnosis, and I asked him if a support group would help me, and he said, no way, you're not that far along. You're going to see people that are much further along in Parkinson's, and it's going to depress you, and you're going to be really upset and really worried about it. And I felt that I needed more help, and thought that I would just try it on my own. And when I did see people who were much further along, but it didn't depress me, it inspired me, and it gave me hope. It gave me people that I could turn to when I needed it, and we were able to form friendships that I never would have had if I didn't have Parkinson's, and they're incredibly valuable to me. So it's not all bad. There's an upside to it, and I can't imagine a life without the people who I have met through a support group, a wonderful, wonderful exercise group that has helped me immensely. And I can't imagine a life without